kind of unrelated, but also kind of related. Benji and I just found this website where you like battle people on movie knowledge, where you're connecting movies based on like actors and directors.
Never has our facto information been more relevant in our lives.
When I tell you, it's so much fun to trap people in these DCOMs that they've never heard of before. They think we're cheating. But we just know. What was the connection you made to Full Court Miracle the other day?
So, I'll talk about it in the factos, so we can save that for that.
We typed in Full Court Miracle. They just had to be like, what the fuck even is that? We've trapped so many people with Brenda Song and Ultimate Christmas Present. It's ridiculous.
The game's great. It's called Sinatu Nerdle Battle.
Go online. You'll find us because we'll be the ones playing DCOMs.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM Duo
podcast.
Yeah, today we're talking about a wonderful movie called Full Court Miracle.
Full Court Miracle, a movie I had never heard of before.
I had also never heard of it before doing the original run through. And I'm not going to bury the lead. Like, this is my sleeper hit. This is like in my A tier.
You love this movie.
I love this movie. I'll go through the whole time about it. I'm happy it held up on a rewatch.
Yeah, no, I will say I like this movie.
I feel it's like, to me, this is similar to you with like Ring of Endless Light, except more.
But you like it more than I like
it
Ring
more.
of Endless Light.
But it's like something where it's like, you know what? I will always defend this movie.
Yeah.
This movie's got a lot going for it. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. Before we get into anything. Fan mail.
Oh my god, fan mail?
Don't we have a comment?
We do. We had someone comment on our Cheetah Girls episode, which was
so
our
exciting.
last episode at this point, other than our mini-sode. By the way, feel free to check out our mini-sode. We read through some fanfics and stuff got steamy.
There's some not safe for work stuff in there, so just be warned.
But for stuff that's safe for work, we have a comment from Micah saying, "Hi, Benji and Kelsey. I'm a 19-year-old introvert with anxiety. I love your podcast, and I'm mad that you aren't one of the most known channel ever. Anyways, sorry for the long comment, and I hope you reach 1 million subscribers." Micah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Never be sorry for, it's not even a long comment. We're happy for any comment. Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
That was very kind of you. I don't think 1 million is in reach. We are actually really close to 100 subscribers.
Oh, that's so exciting.
I do think, I haven't talked to Kelsey about this off recording, but I think we should do something for the 100th episode. I don't know, maybe do like a live stream or something. Like, just something fun. Some extra little thing for hitting 100 subscribers.
Yeah, that might be fun.
At the time of recording this, I believe we're at 87.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. So
thank you so much for your comment. It's so great to hear from anyone that they like what we do.
And it's so awesome. Someone that we have not known beforehand.
Yeah, someone
to us. That's
someone
really
that's
cool.
not already our friend that's listening. We're glad that you also like Disney Channel original movies.
Yes. And I think that Cheetah Girls episode was a pretty good one. So.
I thought it was good too. And I'm hoping that Full Court Miracle will also be a good episode. So, should we get into the factos?
I think it's time to do the factos. I did the factos again this time. The movie released November 21st, 2003. It was the 47th DCOM.
Wow.
Yeah. The director of the movie is Stuart Gillard. That sounds familiar. It's because he's done other DCOMs.
Wow.
Yeah. He's done Going to the Mat, Avalon High. So those two we've covered.
Yes.
Also Girl vs. Monster, which we also covered.
Oh, we've also covered that. Yes.
Yeah. We have not yet covered Hatching Pete, both of the Twitches, and Scream Team.
You know what? I was about to say, what a solid bunch of movies. But they're not. They're like, most of them are good because they're silly. I guess there's also Full Court Miracle. There's a pretty wide range.
It is a balance where there's nothing there's absolutely nothing in there that's F tier.
Right.
And maybe
so like overall they did pretty good.
Hatching Pete we hate, but that's just honestly we probably give it too much hate.
We probably give Hatching Pete too much hate, yeah.
But other than that, I feel like when it's bad, it's a more fun bad.
Yes.
And that's true for Hatching Pete as well.
Because like Avalon High
is terrible, but I love it.
But we love it.
It is so great.
Stupid. In a fun way.
Otherwise, other stuff that he's done, he did producing and directing one or the other on 90210, Charmed, Jane the Virgin, So Help Me Todd, among other things. And he was a 3-time DGA nominee. Not for this movie, but for Girl vs. Monster, Avalon High, and Going to the Mat. Oh. The ones we have already covered.
No, perfect.
Yeah. Great. So, over to him for that. In the cast, Alex D. Linz is our main person here, playing Alex Schlotsky.
Wow. Also named Alex.
Yeah. He's also the lead in the Jenny Project.
Oh, it's the same kid?
Same kid.
Huh. Did we know that before when we watched them the first time? I feel like we didn't.
I feel like that was new knowledge when I looked it up.
That's crazy.
It fits in my mental image, but...
Sure. Well, it's been... Okay, I've seen Jenny Project once. I've also seen Folk Miracle once, now twice. Yeah. So their movies I'm way less familiar with. So.
And then Folklore Miracle is not crazy popular.
Right.
I won't say it's like badly remembered because, especially when I was doing the research for this, there was a lot of blogs and stuff that were covering it, but those are mainly like Jewish focused blogs talking about remembering this.
They're gonna pay more attention.
Yeah. So that's a whole aspect, but I feel like this movie's pretty good. So what am I gonna say? He is the star of Home Alone 3.
No way. He was the replacement?
He was the replacement, Macaulay Culkin.
That's crazy.
As a kid, embarrassing truth fact, Home Alone 3 was my favorite.
What? You traitor.
It was for our whole family.
That's crazy.
You can ask my siblings. They will vouch.
I didn't really watch Home Alone as a kid, so...
As an adult, I feel like the original Home Alones age better, which means they probably were just better.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I think it was like he used an RC car as like part of his gimmick, and I like that. He also was in Max Keeble's Big Move as the lead. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Right. He was the young Tarzan in Tarzan.
That's cool. Like the original Tarzan?
Yeah.
Was he also Tarzan 2, or is that just a different kid?
I think that was different.
I think it was years after the first Tarzan, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was young Tarzan. If they don't do a flashback in Tarzan 2, they wouldn't need a young Tarzan cop.
It's all about him being a kid in Tarzan 2.
Fuck me, I guess. I haven't seen Tarzan 2.
Not to be confused with Tarzan and Jane.
How many different Tarzans are there?
Lots. Remember the one with the guy from True Blood and Margot Robbie?
Remember George of the Jungle?
Yeah, I do.
Why was there multiple George of the Jungle things? Is George of the Jungle different than Tarzan? Was is it a fake Tarzan because someone owned the Tarzan rights? Or I don't know. Whatever. Anywho, Alex D. Linz has retired from acting since 2007. He's now a legal researcher. Huh. So this was like one of his later projects because it's an 03 project.
Yeah, I guess
it's just like, okay, I started enough stuff. I'm ready to go have a real job, which respect to him.
Yeah, happens.
Playing the role of Lamont Carr, the basketball player, is Richard T. Jones. I just found it interesting. He was the son of a professional baseball player and the brother of a high school basketball coach.
Oh.
So there's the sports aspects tied within all of that. He's currently like a main cast member of the show The Rookie, which has been airing for like 5 years.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's probably his best known role. It's just one of those cop shows.
Oh, okay. It's
the dime a dozen.
It's not a sports rookie thing. It's a cop rookie thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I get how that would be misunderstood. Otherwise, a lot of minor roles. Some notable ones include being on the cast of Judging Amy, Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles, recurring roles on Narcos, American Horror Story, Hawaii Five-0. He does a lot of stuff. He's not a small actor, but he's also not a household name. Other than he's currently a main cast member of The Rookie. Which is decently well watched. Playing the role of Rabbi Lewis is R.H. Thompson. A lot of small roles since the 70s. I really couldn't react to all too much, if I'm being honest. But what I saw is like he had a decent role in the movie Chloe from 2009. And he was a part of the main cast of Anne with the E.
I've heard of that.
The TV show. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
That's a shame. I liked him as an actor. I liked his role in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Playing the role of Ben, or Big Ben Schwartz, is Sean Marquette. He had notable major roles on The Goldbergs. And also he was Mac in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
He was Mac?
Yeah.
That's so cool. The Goldbergs. So I bet he knows Shane Top from Smosh because he was on the Goldbergs.
Mm-hmm. And then also 13 Going on 30 is like the main kid in that when they're young.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't know too much about 13 Going on 30, but that's a good connection for our game.
The game where we have to connect to movies.
Yes, movies to movies. Lots of other credits, both live action and voice, and he's still an active actor, still doing a lot. Career ahead of him. The Goldbergs and Foster's Home, though, are the big standouts, I think. Playing the role of TJ Murphy is Eric Knudsen. He had main roles on the Canadian TV shows Continuum and Mental Block. I had never heard of them, but they're in Canada, so maybe that's why. He had notable parts in Scream 4, Saw 2, and in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Fun.
These are all connections you can make to Full Court Miracle.
If someone plays Scream 4, I can play Full Court Miracle, and then where do they go?
Then where do they go? Playing the role of Joker, Joker Levy.
It's so funny because most of the kids, I couldn't tell you which one is which.
No, they're all a blob to me. But they are definitely characters. Like,
yeah, no, they're characters.
It's Schlotz, TJ who gets mad, and
yeah, and I heard the name Ben.
Ben is like the one who actually is the second character.
Cool.
And then the others are there.
They're all there. They're all on the team.
Yeah. So David Cezanne plays Joker, and he got a Young Artist Award nominee for this performance.
For this performance?
Which is
he a big character?
No, he's just one of the basketball players. And he's not even like the next biggest.
Is he a Nepo baby?
Well, he only has 4 other credits to his name on his entire IMDb page. He had like very small roles in Mean Girls and Degrassi. So like actual stuff, but yeah. Not much to write home about. Playing the role of Mrs. Klein is Sheila McCarthy. She is actually also in 2 other DCOMs, and she's in Cowbells pretty recent, and then she went all the way to Zombies 3, where she's like the grandma, a pretty big character in Zombies 3.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Zombies 3 again and be like, oh my god, that's Mrs. Klein.
Yeah, she's a well-awarded, long-running actress. Some notable roles she's had include Die Hard 2 and Woman Talking.
I loved Woman Talking. I actually do remember her in Woman Talking now. Now that I've rewatched Full Court Miracle, I'll be like, oh yeah.
You know that face a bit
Yes,
more.
I know the face. Women Talking is a fantastic movie.
It really is. It's a good movie.
And there's Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
So if somebody plays Die Hard 2, we could go to Full Court Miracle.
If you don't care about this game, I'm sorry.
Sorry, but this is also important for you guys. If you want to play the game and you're playing against us and we play Full Court Miracle, you got to know how to get out of it.
You got to know how to get out.
Play Die Hard 2.
Playing the role of Cynthia Schlosky, that's the mom, is Linda Cash. She's also in Cadet Kelly, I believe, as the
She's
mom.
She's the mom.
As well.
Okay, I was going to say she looks familiar, so I was really hoping you could have told me something that she's in, and it was Cadet Kelly. Yeah. So cool.
It's one of the classic cases of like 100 credits, but nothing really that major.
Yeah.
It's just someone who's done a bunch of stuff and is still active. She was a alumnus of Second City, Toronto.
Oh, okay,
it's
that's
interesting.
cool.
Similarly, playing the dad, Marshall Schlotsky,
Yeah.
is Jason Blicker. He also has over 100 credits on his IMDb page, so clearly gets around, gets acting, does his job, pays the bills. Not that much to write home about. He had long-running TV appearances on FX The Series and State of Grace. Those are TV shows I didn't know existed.
Yep.
And he has a role in Harriet the Spy Blog Wars, which is not a DCOM, but is one of the most DCOM non-DCOMs.
Because it has Jennifer Stone in it.
And it like aired on Disney Channel.
Yeah. I never watched it.
It and 16 Wishes to me are the two premier not DCOMs.
Yeah.
And then you can also say like Northern Lights, because technically it was a DCOM, and then Disney like disowned it because they didn't want it to be the first DCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, playing the role of Julie, we have Cassie Steele. She's actually one of the main roles on Degrassi, The Next Generation.
Crazy.
Like, just casually one of the biggest there. And also on LA Complex, she had one. She has a recurring role on Rick and Morty.
Cool.
At one point, she was announced to be Raya in Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh.
And then they recast.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, but we almost had a Disney princess. Is Raya a Disney princess?
I mean, probably.
If the movie was more successful,
she definitely would have been. Yeah, if she was more successful. So I don't know if they really include her in all the toys, because who cares about Raya, really? Yeah. Sorry, all the Raya fans.
You want some fun facts about Full Court Miracle?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, this is inspired by a true story.
Oh, fun.
Lamont Carr is a real life person. He existed.
Like, that's his real name?
Yes.
Wow.
And Schlotz was based on a former player of Lamont Carr when he taught Jewish basketball players named Alex Barbag.
Oh, changed his last name.
Yeah. That's cool. I couldn't find anything detailing how much is fictionalized. I'm assuming pretty much everything.
Probably.
Lamont Carr was the first black basketball player to graduate from the University of Virginia.
Wow.
Which is fascinating on there. And he later did coach Jewish basketball players. Like, that part's all true. And he never played in the NBA as far as I can tell.
Not even for 10 days?
No, I don't believe so. This is also, unless I'm absolutely forgetting something, the only Jewish-focused Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah, definitely the only one that really focuses on Jewish culture.
Yeah.
There might have been another Jewish character in like a recent one, but I don't know specific. I'm not remembering specifically. Mm-hmm. So yeah. No, this movie is really cool.
This movie, to be blunt about it, Kelsey and I are not very religious people. We both got raised Lutheran, but like lightly.
Yeah. Like not really going to church all the time.
Yeah. So neither of us are big religion nuts. We're not going to speak too much on anything like that. Movies like this really remind me that I don't hate religion. Mm-hmm. I just often hate stuff that surrounds religion that makes the whole experience less. This is like an exact example of something where I feel like I'm learning the lessons that the scripture is trying to teach, mm-hmm. and they're teaching the morals in a more interesting way, while not being like, this is all just like factually true in the exact manner that we say it is from a book from millenniums ago.
Yeah. It's like, what lessons can you take from the book?
Yeah.
In a healthy way.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting and a reason why this film works.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For the Disney Plus description, we have: the life of Lamont Carr inspired this cross-cultural, spiritual story of an African-American former college basketball star who was convinced by a group of Jewish schoolboys to coach their winless basketball team. The boys are also studying the miraculous Hanukkah story of Judah and the Maccabees, and finding similarities between Lamont and Judah. They become convinced that he is the incarnation of the Jewish hero. The importance of perseverance, teamwork, the pursuit of dreams, faith, and the miracle of light are presented in a stirring and welcoming manner as the coach and young team build toward the day of the championship game.
That's very accurate.
Yeah.
I feel like
written
this is
in
totally
a different
fine.
way than it normally is, I feel.
Yeah.
This feels more like if you wanted a one paragraph like AI summary, this would give it. And it would be right.
Yeah.
Unlike most AI summaries. All right, that's what I have for the factos.
Cool. You ready to jump into the movie?
Babe, you know I am so ready to Miracle in Lane 2 into the movie.
The other Miracle movie? I don't think there's another Miracle movie.
I don't think so.
All right. So we open up on a city. Oh my gosh, we're in a city. Do we know what city?
It's Philadelphia.
Right. I actually wrote that later. Yeah, Philadelphia. Full court miracle. Whoa, there's people on the street. And peppers. I wrote that down. Someone's selling peppers. So Alex, or Schlotz, he goes by both names throughout the movie. He's just, dribbling his basketball, walking down the streets. And he's walking with his friend Julie. And she's like, get real, Alex. Your team sucks. But he's like, no, we're going to win eventually.
We're going to win all the games. I know we haven't won yet, but we're going to win.
Yeah. And she's like, but the Warriors are undefeated, so they're going to play the Warriors.
I really like Alex's performance throughout this film, but he's really bad at dribbling this basketball. And it bugs me. Every time he dribbles a basketball, it doesn't look like he's the one good player on the team.
He's supposed to be the one good player. I do like the actor, though. I do like his performance. So she's like, yeah, you won't stand a chance. And he's like, nah, I'll be fine. So you want to shoot hoops after school? And she's like, all right.
You got a basketball game tomorrow?
I got a basketball game tomorrow. At school, Schlotz sees all his friends, and they joke about how he's the only one that's good at basketball. So they're like going through the halls, and they run into Teacher Lady, who I now know is Mrs. Klein. For like half of the movie, I would just write Teacher Lady, and then I decided to finally learn her name.
Yeah, she's in the movie a fair bit.
She was in it way
not really having any purpose for the most part.
Yeah, she was in it way more than I thought she was gonna be in the beginning. So
I like her performance with it.
I think she's funny in this.
Fun.
Yeah,
I feel like she's a good comedic relief.
Yeah, she like confiscates the basketball. If you heard a ball drop, that's our dog trying to play ball.
I'm gonna go get her a dental chew.
Distract her. So now they're in class. Learning about Hanukkah because, oh my gosh, this is a Jewish school. I don't know if you knew that. Schlotz starts daydreaming about basketball during the story about the Maccabees.
Yeah. You only get one story through this whole one. I mean, like, they do different aspects of the mythos, but it's just Hanukkah.
Yeah, and it's because they're really close to Hanukkah. Like, Hanukkah's about to actively be happening. So it makes sense that they're learning about, like, how Hanukkah came to be. So it turns into a daydream that we're in of, like, Schlotz and all his friends on a basketball court. It's really foggy. And they're defeating these, like, Roman-looking guys. Are they Romans? Is that who the Maccabees were fighting?
I can look it up.
That's probably good to know.
The Seleucids?
The Seleucids. Well, they're dressed like Roman.
The Seleucid Empire.
Okay, sure.
I mean, that may just be how armor was at the time.
Yeah. Well, they're the rival team, the Warriors. And we have Tyler. He's like the main villain rival kid from the Warriors team. They start speaking in like slow motion, like, you're going down, Schlotz. Like, I don't know why it's in slow motion. It's pretty funny. Also, Tyler is just so much taller than Alex.
It is really funny. Again, Alex is the shortest person in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And he's the only one on the team that's good at basketball.
It's really funny. He just loves basketball so much.
He loves basketball so much.
And so the dream where they're playing basketball transitions into the actual basketball game.
This would help me learn about history more. I'm just saying.
Basketball?
I mean, any sport.
Okay, where it's like instead of killing each other, they played tennis. I don't know.
I mean, if I think about like war historic battles in terms of like a board game or video game tactical movement, that macro sense usually makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so our home team, our Jewish home team, the Lions, they're getting beat pretty bad. Their coach is a really old teacher. He's just like doing work and not paying attention. Alex goes over. He's like, hey, can you like coach us or something?
He wants anything.
Yeah.
And the guy's like,
no, I'll just lead a chant for the crowd. Woo, go team. And then they're playing and Schlotz doesn't pass the ball. They're like, pass the ball, but he doesn't. And then TJ mouths off to the ref. He starts yelling at the ref and he gets kicked out.
Freaking TJ.
And then Tyler's like, meh, Schlotz, you suck.
Yeah, the basketball action here is pretty abysmal. Like, any basketball that we see is bad. But, like, they're a bad team, so...
Yeah, they're supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
In the halls, the boys are talking about what they're going to get for Hanukkah. And they give Schlotz some shit for not passing. And he says, well, I would pass if the definition for pass on this team wasn't turnover. Which we thought was funny.
It's good. It's good. The general banter between the boys is believable and fun.
Yeah, it's always good. And so Schlotz talks about how the big tournament is in their home gym this year, and Schlotz wants to win it for once. All right.
This becomes his only motivation for the rest of the movie.
He's like, I just want to win this tournament, which like is a far reach with how bad his team is.
Yeah, he should maybe dream more realistic. But you know what?
But it is like...
He also wants to be in the NBA, and that's significantly less realistic.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's also just kind of the fact that they're hosting it, that he's like, if we're going to win it, like, it should be here.
Yeah.
So then at home, Schlotz is complaining to his dad about how the team doesn't care about losing all the time. They have the league record for games lost, which is 20. They've lost 20 games.
Yeah, I wonder if that goes into, like, the previous season or... Not. That's pretty bad. They're gonna win the whole thing by the end.
Yeah, it's a real Cinderella story. Alex is like, basketball's my dream, and the mom comes in. She's like, your odds of getting the NBA are very low. Like, I just want to keep things in perspective for you. She really wants him to be a doctor because she's a doctor. So yeah. So we see Alex shooting some hoops in the alley. And then his dad comes out and checks on him. And Alex is like, what does mom even know about basketball? And the dad's like, well, mom thinks being a doctor is the most exciting thing in life. So they just kind of are talking about it. And then the dad challenges Alex to 1v1. And then they hit a car with a basketball and the alarms go off. So just I don't know, short little scene.
It's just them like, hey, the dad likes basketball too.
Yeah, dad likes basketball and is more supportive of Alex and his dreams.
The dad's like, I have a son, he's cool.
At school, Rabbi Lewis is playing a little basketball himself, but with a little crumpled up piece of paper. And Alex is looking down on him and he's like, oh, hey, Alex, something on your mind? And Alex is like, yeah, so you said Judah, like, led his people to victory. Our basketball team really needs a Judah because our coach sucks. So
they're really just dissing this math teacher.
Yeah. And so he's like, can we hire a real coach? And Rabbi's like, well, you should ask your mom because she's on the board of directors. And he's like, oh, it's hopeless then.
She doesn't like basketball. Yeah. She doesn't care about my dreams.
So then Rabbi's like, well, just find your Judah. Like, but also it's not about like where to find or whatever. It's just, will you recognize him when you see him? Rabbi Lewis is always giving wisdom. Yeah. And I love him.
No, he's great. The whole time. It's a fun little thing. And I also like that he admittedly is like, at one point, yeah, I may be too into this whole basketball thing.
But like, whatever.
I'm invested in this story though.
Let the boys have some fun.
Yeah, this is a movie for the boys.
It's for the boys.
It's for the boys.
All right, so we see Schlotz and Julie playing basketball. And they see just a guy playing basketball by himself. And whoa, he's really good. So Schlotz goes over to talk to him. Julie's like, what are you doing? But he can't help himself. He has to go talk to him. So like, hey, can I rebound for you? And the other boys are there too. And they're like, what is he doing? And Julie's like, he's just being a Schlotz. So then Schlotz is like, hey, so where have you played? It must have been somewhere because you're really good.
Just imagine you're a former like college basketball star, but you're now homeless. Spoilers for the rest of this movie. And you're just playing on a court, and this little boy just comes up and is like,
boy.
Hey, I'm going to catch the ball and throw it to you, but you have to talk to me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess I do.
You're in a public place, like, and this kid just starts talking to you. He's being very aloof. He's like, okay, so Alex has the ball. He's like, tell me your name and I'll give you the ball back. And the dude's like, no. He's like, fine, we'll have a shootout. Anything but dunks, because obviously this guy's way taller than Alex. And he says, whoever misses first loses. And he shoots and he makes it, but this guy is just not giving him anything. He leaves for his van instead. And so Alex's friends come up and they're like, guess you'll never know his name. But then Alex clocks his license plate. He just memorizes it so he can go look it up.
Which, you can't really look it up. I think they a little bit lampshade that by saying, oh, it was a University of Virginia booster plate. Like,
oh, weird.
They were saying it was a specialized plate, so he knew it must have been like someone on University of Virginia, and then he looked up the personalization.
Weird. That's a smart way to do it.
But also, like, I don't know if that would be enough to Google.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Alex is looking at the license plate. They find his name on the basketball roster. It's Lamont Carr is his name, and he was the point guard for the Virginia Cavaliers. So that's college?
Yes. University of Virginia.
Cool. And they're like, oh my gosh, he's Judah. His nickname is the Hammer, which is Judah's nickname.
Is Judah's real nickname the Hammer?
I wouldn't think they made that up for this Jewish movie, but
I want to look that up because that's wild. Origin of the name the Hammer. Okay.
And it's accurate?
Yeah.
Wow. They're like, his name's just the Hammer because he's good at dunking or whatever. And it's like, no, he's Judah. Also, the license plate like numbers had something to relate to Judah Maccabee, like the year he died or something. I don't remember. They found a connection though. Yeah. And Schlotz says, regardless if he's Judah or not, I think we have our angel. And then his mom comes in and brings him some really rock hard cookies.
The mom is bad at cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dad is good. He's like a chef.
He's a realtor.
Yeah, he is a realtor. But I'm saying like he's got all these recipes and stuff that he works on.
Yeah.
It's
so
a very small like plot.
Yeah. So then in the hallway, Alex tries to get his friends to go see Lamont with him. He's like, well, he's the ghost of Judah, so you should come with me. So they all go to see him play. They're all watching, behind the gate or whatever. Schlotz says that all that matters is when we needed a coach, this guy showed up in our park.
Yeah. Schlotz is very much just immediately like, oh, this is the answer. I like that he gets his mind determined on something and sets out to do it.
He went to Rabbi Lewis like, we need a coach. And he's like, well, look out for one. And then the same day, he saw a guy that's like, oh, he has to be our coach.
I'm consistently impressed. Schlotz is a very fun character because he's the type of swarmy asshole who you can tell is a good guy and he's not actually an asshole. But he's also very much a swarmy asshole who you just like, God damn it, man. You're right, but
everything he does and pretty much says is like really good intentions and for a good cause. He's never slimy. He's not like life is rough.
No.
Kid.
No, it's different.
It's so different.
This is a good kid. He just also is very good at getting himself out of corners.
He's good at getting what he wants.
Yeah.
In like a reasonable way too.
He's a good logician.
Yeah. He should be a lawyer. Anyway. Alex goes up to Lamont again and points to his team practicing on the other court. He's like, that's my team. we haven't won a game in 2 years, and we have this big tournament coming up. Do you think you can help us win? And Lamont just like laughs him off. And he's like, yeah, we're bad, but that's why we need you. He says, you don't even have to like come to our games or anything. You could just coach us here.
Yeah, Lamont's like, I don't have the time for that.
And Alex like, yes, you do. I looked you up. You just had knee surgery, so you're not playing right now.
If someone Googles you, it's just like, oh, well, shoot. That's all my knowledge is out there on the internet.
Yeah.
Darn.
Lamont says he's just like he's waiting to try out for the Sixers. I wonder why specifically the Sixers, like if he already had an in with the Sixers, maybe.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schlotz is like, well, why don't you just help while you're waiting? And Lamont says, no, coaches are for has-beens or wannabes. And Alex is like, well, what if I pay you? And he hands him $20. He's like, $20, that's it. And he says, and $20 after. And Lamont's like, all right, takes the money. He's like, I'm good for 1 hour and 1 hour only tomorrow at 4. So now we're at home. Alex's dad is off showing the Bender condo again. So they mentioned this Bender condo a lot because it's plot relevant later, and how the dad just isn't able to sell it. So then mom is trying to cook again, and she's making frozen waffles. She like puts them in the microwave and it doesn't work. And Alex is like, okay.
How do you mess up frozen waffles? I feel like we should talk about that.
You can just put them in a toaster. But whatever. Alex is like, so you want something from me? And she's like, yes. There's this like shadowing thing at the hospital where a kid can shadow a doctor, and I got you in, so you should do it. And he's like, okay, I'll think about it. So then at the basketball court in the park, all the boys are talking before Lamont comes. They still think he's a ghost, and they start calling him Judah. And Lamont comes over, and they're like, hey, Judah. And he's like, what? And like, oh, that's what we call our great athletes.
They say, oh, if we had any.
Yeah.
Which is funny. There are not a crazy number of Jewish pros.
So then Lamont starts drilling them. He's making them sprint a lot. And notably, they're all wearing like street clothes and coats. They're wearing like jeans. They did not come in basketball attire for their basketball
they're like
practice.
this every time that they're outside.
Which is annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's
feel
probably
like they probably
cold,
filmed it all like on the same day, because I think it's like the same outfit every time. But it is cold.
Yeah. So we're just getting
it's like
a montage.
November, probably. Hanukkah moves around, but...
Yeah. So then they're just, drilling all the time. And then they're running around. I think Lamont goes, that was terrible. Like, just saying how bad they are right now. And the boys are very tired afterwards. And Lamont's like, all right, that's it for today. And one boy just goes, what did we ever do to make you hate us? I think it's TJ. It was so funny. Because he's like genuinely upset.
It's like they just paid this guy money and all he did was make them run cardio.
Yeah.
I do think, as much as I hate to admit it, because it's my least favorite part of being on a sports anything.
Oh my gosh.
This is 100% accurate. Cardio is like, you got to be active on that. That's the quickest way to improvement.
Yeah. I played soccer growing up. By far, the worst part was just practice, which we would do some fun things at practice too. But I was way more into just playing games and being competitive that way, getting my head in a game space. And like the strategies, whatever. And just like being at practice and running sucks.
Yeah.
So Lamont says, I'm not here to like you. I'm here to make a bad team into a better one. And then Schlotz, he's like, where's my money? And Schlotz hands it to him. And it was in his pocket the whole time. So it's all gross.
Sweaty and icky.
He's like, next time you pay me beforehand. Okay. See you tomorrow. And then we see Lamont. He takes his van under a bridge because he lives in his van. He's homeless. And he's putting the money that he got from Schlotz like in a letter, sending it to his family, his wife and his son. And it's like really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a new day. Lamont pulls up for practice. The boys are pulling together their money. One kid is like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to prove he's not Judah.
They got like all the money in one hand. He's like, I don't want to run again. We're losing all our money.
We're losing all our money. There's no way this guy's actually Judah. I'm going to prove it. So he's like, all right, hey, Lamont, I have some questions for you. What's your dad's name? And he's like, what? And they're like, well, if you're going to be our coach, we deserve to know something about you. And he's like, all right, my dad's name was Skip. Ha. But his real name was Matthew. And Alex is like, close enough. So it must have been.
It was like Mattathias.
Yeah, something.
First one, so yeah. It's like, well, shit, that's as close as you're going to get in a modern spelling scheme. And
they're like, how many brothers do you have? He's like, I have 3 brothers. There was a 4th, but he was killed like 10 years ago or whatever. And the kids was like, damn, those were the right answers. Like, that's how many brothers Judah had. Damn it. All right.
Yeah. It's also sad that the brother died. It's a nice little like touching moment where they all just.
Yeah, no, Alex hands him the money. He says like, I'm sorry about your brother. Like, it's a really sweet moment. And then another kid goes up to him and he's like, here's another 10 if I never have to hear 1755 again. So 1755 was like the sprinting drill he was making them do. So he's like, if I never have to hear 1755, like here's 10. And Lamont like takes the money and goes, thank you for reminding me. And then puts it back in his shirt.
It's funny.
It was really funny.
He's like, no, if I'm going to do this, you're doing it.
You're going to be sprinting. $10 isn't worth you not sprinting. So then they montage drill some more. And Tyler rolls by and he makes fun of them. And Alex is pissed at it. So, yeah. After practice, the kids talk about how like they can't keep affording Lamont like this. What's even the point of all this? And Schlotz is like, hey, at least Ben can make it up and down the court now.
So true.
And another kid's like, great, now he can suck at both ends.
So true. So I love those just like set up and dunk jokes.
Yeah. Why can't we just ask our parents for the money? And Alex is like, no, my mom can't find out about this. Like, she'll be pissed off about it. They're like, then you come up with some cash. So cut to Schlotz taking out a basketball card. It's Dr. J.
Yeah, Julius Erving, just one of the biggest basketball players of all time.
Yeah, so he is going to sell this basketball card. All right, so then Mom comes in. She's like, you got into the shadow program. And he's like, no, I got basketball practice. I have to get ready for the tournament. And Mom's like, well, I have to get you ready for life. So he has to do the doctor program.
Yeah. The mom is not liking basketball. Honestly, it's a bit too much. But at the same time, she kind of admits at the end it was a bit too much.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those where it's like, I guess at 14 you can be like, okay, you got to do this. But also, he's doing one hobby. He has the other months of the year when basketball's not a thing.
Our dog is playing with a toy.
I thought this would be a quieter toy.
Yeah, we went from a ball, which would bounce, to a rope that she's slamming on the ground.
It is very cute to watch her just whip it.
Yeah, I don't know. She's really obsessed with her 14-year-old son becoming a doctor already. What if he doesn't want to do it, though?
Yeah, also, everyone makes a good point throughout the movie. He'd just be a better lawyer.
Yeah, no, for real. She's so obsessed with him becoming a doctor because she's a doctor. I feel like you shouldn't make your son be a doctor if he doesn't want to.
I think it's because she really likes being a doctor.
And she's like, well, everybody would like it.
Yeah. And that's like, I think part of it. And obviously it's a good job and whatnot. But yeah. It's a little too much of the plot.
It is.
That's one of my few complaints about the movie.
Yeah. All right, so then Julie and Alex are talking. Julie's like, you're crazy for selling that card. It was a gift for your bat mitzvah. And Schlotz is planning on, like, he's like, I'm going to do the doctor thing and have the other boys practice so that at least they're getting better. Like, I'll pay for it so that they can get better. I'm obviously already good. So, you know, I'll go do the doctor thing. And Julie's like, well, I wouldn't mind doing it. Like, it sounds really cool.
She's like, that's dope as hell. And he's like, well, great. You do it.
Great idea. You take my place. And she's like, what will your mom say? And Alex says, let me handle that. And his answer is he's not going to tell her. She says, Lamont was right. You should have been a lawyer. All right. So cut to Lamont's van. It's on the fritz. And it's like really expensive to fix it. So Alex comes up and he's like, hey, I got your money. And Lamont's like, sorry, deal's off. My van's broken. So I need like serious cash. And Alex says, we'll pay you double. And Lamont says, no, like, I can't do that to you. And Alex says, no, you need the money. And the tournament's 2 weeks away. So then, you know, you can be done with us then. And Lamont's, you know, he takes the money. He's like, okay, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Alex like, well, one more thing. And Lamont's like, why am I not surprised that there's one more thing?
Of course. You don't expect Alex here to be over saying all of this without having one more card up his sleeve. He always has cards.
Yeah. Alex says, well, you love basketball and I love basketball, but the other guys are starting to hate it. So if you could just ease up a little bit, that would be nice. Like, not all the way, because we do need to get better, but just like help them love it too.
Again, this is me just liking sports movies.
Mm-hmm.
I always love this chick when it's like the person who wants, it's someone like having to learn, the coach having to learn to give in a little, not just be a whole hard ass.
That's very sports movie trope. Yeah.
Learning how to actually lead.
Mm-hmm. So the boys show up to practice. Lamont is like, what's up, my dogs? And they're like, what the hell? You're calling us names now?
It's like, making us run is one thing, but you're calling us names? Which is, this is a joke that would not land even like 5 years later, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the more dated jokes, because of course everyone knows that someone being called, hey, my dog.
Yeah, that's like normal, and it's a good thing. But he's like, no, like in basketball, my dogs is like my bros, or like, I don't know, it's a good thing. And they're like, all right, should we run until we puke? And he says, no, today we shoot. And then he shoots like a 3-pointer, and they're like, whoa.
Oh my God, he made it. I wonder how many takes that took. Actually, I feel like for most of these shots, they don't show, I think on this one they did show the ball, but on most of these shots, they're doing clever angles so they don't actually have to show the shot go in, and they can fuse together shots.
Yeah. I think this one it did go.
I think this one is, I don't remember completely. Cinematography in this movie was honestly pretty good.
Yeah. So they shoot some baskets, and Lamont's helping them shoot better, and you know, they do the practice, and then he goes, all right, dogs, that's it for today. And Alex is like, so how we doing? And Lamont says, they have potential. And one of the kids goes, a bunch of Jewish kids like us have basketball potential. And Lamont says, don't do that. Don't put yourself in a box ever. If we're going to do this, you got to believe in yourselves.
Love the idea of just immediately pushing back on the putting yourself in a box.
Yeah.
Jewish kids, like, no.
He doesn't like look down at them at all.
No.
For like their lack of athletic ability because they're like a bunch of Jewish kids. He's like, no, I'm here to make you better. Don't push yourself down. Like, you guys can do this. And he says, if we're going to do this, we got to believe in ourselves. And Schloss is like, if we are going to do this.
Schloss just gets his way.
He does. So when Schloss is on the phone with Alex at home about how they need to make more money for Lamont, so they're making a plan. And then the mom comes in and she's like, how did the doctor shadow thing go? And Alex is like, it was so fast. It was like I was hardly there. And the mom goes, I knew you'd like it. He never said he liked it.
Yeah. I have a couple fun little gags within this conversation. He has the book upside down.
Oh, yeah.
The mom says, by the way, your book's upside down.
Because he was just pretending to read when she gave it. Yeah, it was funny. Cut to the boys selling coffee on the street, and then Mrs. Klein rolls up, and she calls Alex over to her car, and she's like, what's going on here? And he's like, where? Oh, well, that's just a fundraiser for some unfortunate kids looking for some better coordination and self-esteem. And have a great day.
What's happening?
Have a great day. Bye. Which, that's what's happening.
No lies were told.
I don't think they're breaking any rules. Like, it's the weekend.
You might want a school-sponsored fundraiser, usually.
Why? Why can't they do what they want in their free time?
It's just they're doing something at a school event without it being school-approved. What if they were selling cocaine?
What if they're just a group of friends separate from a school?
Well, still selling stuff is technically illegal.
Selling coffee?
Selling, like, lemonade stands are fundamentally illegal.
What?
Like, almost universally because of food and health safety laws.
Oh, well, everybody who buys a cup of lemonade from a kid knows that it's not going to be like...
Yes. They're not going to be able to do much about it.
Yeah. At home, Mom is in a good mood because Alex is finally into becoming a doctor. And then the dad mentions the condo that he can't sell again. And the mom's like, I can't find the espresso machine.
I want to just point this out because I appreciated it in the time. The whole, like, the last few C's were setting up the stupidest pun. Like, there was just this whole bottom through line of the mom being like, oh, that's just, you like the good karma of being a doctor? And he's like...
Alex says, it's not karma, Mom. And she says, oh, it's mojo. Like, the slang. Don't say karma, say mojo. Like,
which
what?
Is why that doesn't feel like there was a time where it was like that. Karma is so clearly in vogue now. Yeah. But...
Was the mom trying to use slang when she said karma?
I don't know. But then she's like bragging to the dad about like, oh, I just feel the good mojo or something. And then she's like, wait, where's the espresso machine? And the dad goes, well, I guess you got no Joe, which is so good. Because you know Joe is coffee.
Yeah, Joe is coffee.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
Oh my gosh. So then Mrs. Klein calls the mom, and the mom's like, oh, Alex is with the doctor. And she's like, no, he's not. So then Mrs. Klein goes over to Alex, like, it's your mom. You're busted. Mrs. Klein just like causing drama. Why?
Because she doesn't like basketball.
That's true.
That's really what it comes down to.
She doesn't like
until later on she likes basketball.
Yeah.
That's her arc in the movie.
So then at school, Rabbi Lewis is like, with Alex, like, what are you thinking? Alex like, I'm just doing what you told me to do. And he says, I don't recall telling you to con Julie, lie to your parents, and hustle strangers for money.
The rabbi's so real for this.
Okay, but also, it's harsh because conning Julie gets to be part of this cool program. Yeah. I don't get why that's a con to Julie. Alex did lie to his parents. He got me there. But hustling strangers for money, he's selling coffee.
I feel like instead of saying con Julie, it should have been con Mrs. Klein.
Yeah.
And it would have completely worked. Hustling strangers for money, I mean, that is objectively what they were doing. They were going up to people and being like, you want coffee? Which, well, yeah, they're providing a gooder service. They are at the same time asking for money.
Yeah. And then Alex tells him about Lamont, like, we found our coach. He's so cool. But Alex's mom doesn't want them to be coached by a stranger anymore. Yeah, well, Rabbi's like, she has a point. But then Alex comes out and is like, but shouldn't we welcome the strangers since the Jews were once strangers in Egypt? Like, this is a quote from the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm. That is always good to read scripture back to a rabbi. Yeah. What are you going to do?
And Rabbi's like, you're right. That's why I'm inviting Lamont and your family to my place for a Shabbat dinner.
Boom. Suddenly, dinner party.
Dinner party, Shabbat. Which I know about because I watch Knuckles, the TV show. I looked it up. It's just a dinner that Jewish people do on Saturdays.
We're not very cultured, except for Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wish I knew more about Jewish culture, but I am not Jewish. So, there we go. Alex tells Lamont to put on his yarmulke, and they sing a song in, like, Hebrew. Was it Hebrew or was it not? I don't remember.
I think it's Hebrew.
And then they eat Jewish food. And I can't tell if Lamont likes it or not. I think he does end up liking it.
I think he does like it.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, it's so good.
He's also, if you remember, homeless. So he hasn't had like a home-cooked meal.
True.
In God knows when.
True. And then he's like, oh, it's so good, but can I have some milk? And they're all like silent. And Alex is like, we don't have dairy after meat. But then they like kind of banter about it. Like, oh, sometimes these things are silly. But Lamont's being like really nice and polite about it, yeah. and everything's going well.
It's something where it's like misunderstandings within the culture, but also at the same time, no one's being rude about it. It's really wholesome and way more realistic than a lot of these movies do.
Yeah, like it was a little bit of an awkward moment, but he recovered so well, and everybody is just being so respectful and nice that it's really heartwarming to watch.
Again, it's the type of religious stuff that I'm always like, yeah, I am into that.
Yeah. So then Alex is talking up the coaching that Lamont's giving them, but the mom is just like so not into it. He's still a stranger. And Alex is like, well, then I'll introduce him to everybody. But the mom's like, well, you shouldn't be practicing on the street. And Rabbi Lewis is like, that's a good point. You should practice in the gym. And Lamont's like, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm not Jewish. And they're like, obviously, yes, you're not Jewish. But maybe you don't need to be Jewish to teach at a Jewish school. And then they talk about how a lot of sports kind of started with Jewish athletes.
Mm-hmm. No, the NBA was a lot of Jewish teams to begin with.
Yeah.
Because, there's also a whole thing where just how Jewish New York is and how much spawns out of New York.
Yeah. And Lamont says, like, that's great, but, like, I have to turn it down. I'm not looking for a coaching job. I'm hoping to be picked up by the Sixers. And the mom's face is like, yes, like, he's not going to do it. But then Rabbi Lewis says, well, I have a solution for you. We will keep this temporary day to day. So you can leave anytime you need to go join the Sixers. And everybody's happy.
Yeah. This will not come back later to be a point of contention.
No, certainly of course not.
This is just a nice, happy moment.
Yeah. So then Alex's parents are arguing about this in another scene. The mom still doesn't want Alex to focus so much on basketball. And the dad says, when did you know you wanted to be a doctor? She says, when I was 10 years old. He says, and your dream came true. Why don't you want the same for Alex? Why don't you want his dreams to come true? And the mom's like, because he's never going to be a basketball player in the NBA and you know it. And he says, no, I don't. I suspect it, but I don't know it. Like, we should just give Rabbi's plan a chance.
Again, I like that line. It's you can't crush your kid's dreams.
Yeah.
You can know that it's...
You can know it's a long shot.
5-foot kid. It's not going to be in the NBA, but you can let him surprise you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why squash the small chance that he has?
Yeah.
Like, let him live out the dreams that he wants in the best way that he can.
Mm-hmm.
So now Schlotz and Lamont roll up to the school. Lamont feels just really out of place. But like the old coach like loved him, which was really cute. He's like, oh, bless you for being here. Like, I don't have to coach anymore. And also Mrs. Klein yells at Lamont for having a basketball in the hallway. So there's that. And now the boys are at practice and Julie is watching. Julie's just like a character that's just there.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
She really just felt probably like a romance plot that got cut, if we're being real.
Yeah, because they never focus on any romance happening actually with those two.
It's also, I guess, just someone for Slots to talk to that's not Lamont, not the basketball team, and not his parents, because they're the only people that he wants to always talk about, and he might need to talk about all of them in one scene.
Yeah.
It's really just like a narrative need, I guess.
I guess so. So Lamont tells Alex I need to pass more, which we knew that from earlier. Rabbi Lewis comes in and compliments how much they've improved. Lamont says they still just don't believe. They need to believe that they're going to win. And then Rabbi Lewis tells the Jewish story about how the Maccabees made their enemies attack with their left hand. It's something they like.
It was like they continuously were turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that their enemies had to use their left weaker side, and the Maccabees could attack with their right. And Lamont like picks up on it really quickly, and Rabbi Lewis says, "Oh, you make a good rabbinical student," and Lamont says, "And you make a good assistant coach." But neither of those things up. Well, I thought he was inviting Rabbi Lewis to become the assistant coach, but he never does.
Yeah, it's just their shared respect.
Yeah. And then Lamont blows the whistle and starts talking about the Maccabees with the boys, how a good defense is a good offense. So they're going to kind of use that story to help them become better. After practice, one of the boys tells Alex, if you were a ghost, where would you go at night? So they still kind of think Lamont's a ghost. And then... And then his mom rolls up in the car and he goes, hey, does anybody need a ride? And Schlotz goes, Yeah, TJ needs a ride. And then he steals TJ's bike.
So good.
So
TJ's
funny.
like just holding his bike helmet and bike, and he's just like talking with someone.
Yeah.
He just steals it from him.
Yeah, TJ needs a ride. Which, okay, I guess this is the one kind of crummy thing Alex does.
He also lies a lot to his mother.
Yeah.
But
for good reason.
He's not faultless, but he's very human.
Yeah. What's he doing? He's being Schlotz. So Schlotz follows Lamont's van. He does some sick bike tricks while he's following. Heck yeah. Lamont goes to the bridge and Alex, goes up to the van and Lamont's like, all right, congrats. Now you know I live in my van. And Schlotz tells him that some guys think he's the ghost of Judah. And he's like, well, not me. I don't think you're a ghost. Because Lamont's like, I never heard of a ghost with bad knees, have you? And he's like, oh, I don't know. The boys thought so. Like, he was following him because he wanted to see if he was actually a ghost. So then Lamont says, how about you stay for dinner? So they set up a little table outside and they're eating. And they talk about basketball, talking about his stats.
How Lamont's stats were 27 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists per game, which is genuinely great stats.
But then he got
injured. That's a triple-double on average.
Wow. Schlotz is like, oh, I want to be doing what you're doing, following your dreams, doing what you love. And then Lamont's like, you want to see what I love? Boom, here's a picture of my family. Exposition.
Except we've already seen it throughout, so it's really just sharing a moment.
He's like, big dreams mean big sacrifices. And then he tells Schlotz, like, let's keep this a secret. I don't think Mrs. Klein would be thrilled that I'm homeless or your mom. So Schlotz like, yeah, it's cool.
Well, suddenly we get the next scene, which is just about this exact topic.
Yeah, totally about this. Mrs. Klein is like, hey, Lamont, you didn't fill in a place of residence on the form. And he's like, oh, well, I just moved here.
Yeah, I can't remember my address.
Yeah, and she's like, well, we need it for insurance purposes. So he just starts saying numbers, saying he's on Jefferson because he sees a picture of Thomas Jefferson.
He goes, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. So yeah, he just gave her a fake address. Cut to Schlotz and his parents lighting the menorah and singing. That blessing was a bop.
Yeah.
That's
shout out Puppy for Hanukkah.
That's from Puppy for Hanukkah. They he sings,
that should have been our cold open. It's just
Puppy for
want
Hanukkah.
A puppy, want a puppy, want a puppy, want a puppy.
Look up Puppy for Hanukkah on Disney Plus.
It's probably on YouTube if we're being real.
Also probably on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. I want a puppy for Hanukkah. I'm going to name her Monica.
You might be disappointed. But if you want...
The blessing's a bop now, I said it. Don't know what it means, but I learned it phonetic. It's good.
That's our knowledge of Jewish culture.
Yeah. So it's just like a little tiny montage of the holiday season. It's Hanukkah. Lamont gets a drawing sent from his son that his birthday wish is to be together again.
The timing of this movie is pretty weird. It's another thing. There's it's unclear how long everything is taking.
It takes place over the course of Hanukkah.
Yeah, the whole plot of the movie takes place in 3 weeks. 3 weeks because he says he said to Lamont at one point tournaments in 2 weeks. I think the movie's wants it to be longer, but also knows that it can't be. It really tries to make it seem like it's not important that it only takes 3 weeks for all this to happen.
Yeah.
They want to act like more time passed.
So then Alex opens up one of his gifts from Hanukkah. It's an encyclopedia. He's like, oh my God, thanks. It's an avocado. Thanks. And then he opens another gift and it's the basketball card. Dr. J again. And he's like, oh my gosh, how did you know that I sold it? And they're like, yeah, Julie snitched, so we went and got it for you again. Which is so cute. Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's a new day. Rabbi Lewis sees Lamont's bed is in his van as he's walking by. So he pieces it together. He
pieces it together immediately.
Mrs. Klein is complaining to Rabbi about the fake address.
She's like, I drove all the way down Jefferson. There ain't no 7267.
Did you remember the actual?
I think it's 7627. I remember it starts with 7, ends with 7.
There's a lot of 7s in it.
And it's 4 digits, and I think it's 62.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know why he'd give me a fake address. And Rabbi's like, I'm sure he has a good reason. And Mrs. Klein is like, I'm going to keep an eye on him. And then after class, Rabbi's handing out back the tests to everyone as they walk out, which is such like a trope in movies and TV shows with teachers just like handing them back their tests as they walk out the door as if they're in perfect order. Did he make them line up in a specific order so that they could maybe?
Surely. It's not impossible.
It's not
I've had
impossible.
classes where that's happened.
I've never been handed a test back as I'm walking out the door though. It's usually like during class.
Shout out my AP US history teacher who never learned all the kids' names and at one point was trying to hand out the test and then was just like, I'm going to go put it in the folders in the back so everyone can grab it.
That's
I didn't remember
funny.
everyone's name. This was like 4 months into the year.
Oh my gosh. He couldn't just yell out the names. He's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not embarrassed.
Because like he
myself.
started by like handing it out to people and then he was like, I can't just start doing it.
Okay, so Schlotz gets his test back. He got a C- on it. So that's not good. Rabbi's like, I also want to talk about Lamont. Mrs. Klein is going to follow him home today, and she's going to see that he lives in a van.
I really do like the whole moment of Rabbi just being like, hey, this is disappointing, but also we got more important issues.
But also, Lamont's about to get in trouble, so let's talk about that first.
Yeah.
And Schlotz is like, well, if he lived in an apartment, it'd be fine, right? And Rabbi's like, yeah, like, theoretically. And Alex is like, okay, I have a plan. Like, cover for me with Coach. I'm going to go take care of it.
Yeah.
So he runs off.
This idea is real quick from him.
I know. He's really smart. Alex asks his dad about the Bender condo. He's like, you still can't sell it, right? And he's like, yeah. Well, I know somebody who wants it, but he doesn't know it yet, and I'm pretty sure he can't afford it. And the dad's like, oh, that's exactly the kind of client I dream about.
Mm-hmm. That's the realtor's dream right there.
So then Lamont finds a note on his car from Alex that says, like, come to this address. Mrs. Klein is going to be following you. Don't lose her. Because this whole thing is to show Mrs. Klein that he lives somewhere. So then Lamont drives and Mrs. Klein follows him. And they make to the condo. And Lamont, shows up at the door. Alex opens the door, hands him the key and says, like, count to 10 and then open the door. And then shuts it.
He's like, what the hell is going on?
So he starts counting and Alex like, stop counting out loud. And Mrs. Klein kind of rolls up outside of the complex and sees Lamont unlock the door. She's
trying to like fumble with the convertible's head.
Yeah, and she gets splashed.
She gets gooped.
It's all muddy. Yeah. It's a goop moment.
Certified goop moment.
Certified goop. So then Lamont comes in. He's like, I can't afford this, Alex. And Alex is like, well, my dad is going to let you live here for free until he sells it. And Lamont says, I don't take handouts. And Alex is like, it's not. Apparently, it's going to sell better if somebody's living in it. Do you think that's accurate?
I do, actually. The longer I thought about it, that makes more sense because in a condo that everyone else is living in, and it's like, this has been on the market for a while, it starts raising questions of why does everyone else not get this?
That was like, yeah, when we were looking at houses and it's like, why has this been on the market for so long? There must be something wrong with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So having someone live in it makes it like, oh no, it's livable.
Yeah. He says, well, I can't afford the utilities. And Schlotz says, well, I'll pay your first month. I'll sell my basketball card again.
I just love that he immediately is like, no, I can do it.
He's like, I already sold it once. I already went through the emotions of losing it, so I'll just do it again. Lamont says, I don't take charity. And Schlotz says, it's not charity, it's a trade. You get an apartment, I get a coach. And the dad says, well, it's hard to argue with Alex. And Lamont turns to the dad and he's like, all right, here's this. How about Alex gets to keep his basketball card, but I'll do some work around here. I'll paint the walls, whatever. And dad says, we got a partnership. And
now he has a place to live.
Yay. Is good. Alex did good.
Yeah.
All right. So then at home, mom brings home pizza. And she sees that Alex got the C- grade. So she's like, oh my gosh. She goes to talk to Rabbi Lewis. She says, Alex cannot handle basketball and school. And Rabbi Lewis is like trying to downplay it. Like, no, it's going to be okay. But Mrs. Klein is like, it's just a silly basketball tournament. What's so special about it? But Rabbi loves basketball. And he's like, come on, Mrs. Klein, toss the piece of paper.
I just like, but Rabbi loves basketball.
He loves basketball.
But he loves basketball. He used to like take this little crumpled up paper.
Come on, Mrs. Klein, throw the paper. And then she throws it and she makes it. And they're like, yay, you did it. And now Mrs. Klein understands that basketball is fun.
Basketball is
because
dope. She turns a leaf.
Throw ball into basket. Fun time.
Mm-hmm. She nails it.
So Lamont goes into the locker room. He's giving them a pep talk before their game. He says, what happened before is behind us. Ben, what do dogs do?
They barf on the carpet?
No, TJ says dogs bark. And like, yes, dogs bark. So I'm asking my dogs, is this a new team?
Woof, woof.
I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
Woof, woof, woof.
My dogs.
Exactly.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted, Bingo.
I'm just going to say it now because it really does slightly irk me. Their team name is the Lions.
Yes, their team name is the Lions.
You know, a cat.
And they are constantly barking and calling themselves dogs.
Like, you could have done something
They should have
different.
been like the Wolves or the Hounds or something, you know?
Well, then they wouldn't have, I guess, been insulted by dogs at the beginning. Well, they could have been like some sort of human.
They didn't have to be offended by it.
Yeah.
They could have been like, oh my God, that's so perfect because our team is the Hounds.
We're the Dreidels.
Woo.
We're the fighting Dreidels.
We're the fighting Dreidels. We made ourselves out of clay. And we spin.
Are we being offensive?
Sorry, I'll take it back. I apologize immediately. So they go, woof, woof, woof. We are cool. Woof, woof. And then Lamont is like, and Alex is going to sit this one out because he's failing history. So you guys need to do this one without him. And poor Alex is left behind. And he doesn't get to play the game. And it actually is sad. So now it's time for the game. Alex is sitting next to Julie in the crowd. And he's like, it's not fair. I'm the only one who's ever cared about basketball. I found Lamont. And now they're playing without me. And Julie's like, well, they're looking pretty good even without you. Yeah, imagine that. And then he's like, Julie, why do you even bother to come? You just berate me all the time.
Yeah. And she's like, what? You don't want me to come?
And he's like, not all you do is hassle me. And then she gets mad and storms off.
Yeah. Which would matter more if she was more of a character.
Or if they like resolve this conflict at all and they don't really.
Yeah.
She just kind of comes back.
It feels like slightly bit of a cut plot.
Yeah. So then the boys show up to Alex's house and they're like, we are going to help you study because Rabbi Lewis is going to help you going to let you retake the test. So you can do this. And he's like, I can't do it. Like, I just love basketball so much that I can't pass history. And they're like, Schlotz, you know so much about basketball stats and you have it all memorized in your head. You can memorize history. And he's like, I don't know. I just think better with a ball in my hands. And they're like, all right, well, we'll put a ball in your hands. So they start like playing basketball and making Alex.
Quizzing him.
Yeah, they quiz him. And when he has the basketball in his hands and they treat it like it's sports stats, then he's able to memorize it. So it was cute. It was cute. So then he goes in to retake the test and it's just him and the rabbi in the classroom alone because it's like during practice, like after school. And so he grabs the test and he's like, is it okay if I dribble an imaginary basketball while I do this?
Imagine he says no.
Rabbi's like, sure. And then so Schlotz is like doing the hand motion for dribbling.
And he's
and
just
the rabbi,
using his left hand to go dribble, dribble, dribble.
And the rabbi's like sitting behind him also doing the dribbling motion, which is really cute. Okay, so then at practice, they're like, we need Schlotz. We're getting killed without him. But Lamont pep talks him. And he's playing a sick beat. He's like, y'all just need to work together as a team. You guys only talk about Alex. You need to do your own thing. You're all parts of a body. You're all one body.
Yeah. This is kind of the only coaching he does in the movie, but also at the same time. No. It's like, it's the only like big picture team building thing. The rest is just like building up their cardio. Yeah. He doesn't teach them plays or anything.
Well, they do the like press offense or whatever.
Yeah. They're doing the full court press, which is just basically the strategy of playing defense on the whole court rather than giving up half court to set your defense.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, TJ, you always get mad at the ref. So instead, think about something that makes you happy. And he's like, Rebecca Bloomberg.
Rebecca Bloomberg.
All right, think about Rebecca Bloomberg.
That is the most stereotypical, like, Jewish crush name to me.
Rebecca Bloomberg. Yeah. And then he's like grooving with other kids. And he's like, hey, you're going to trash talk for some reason. I don't know. And then another kid is the butt. Yeah. He's like, you're the butt. Yeah. Shove your butt in people's faces.
He's boxing people out for rebounds.
Yeah. He's like, now sing me the school song. We are the Lions.
No, they start singing like the actual school song. And they're like, no. We're doing the chant.
We are the Lions, mighty, mighty Lions. I know this from the Frosted Flakes commercial. Except it was tigers in the Frosted Flakes commercial.
Holy shit. Did Tony the Tiger steal this from Full Court Miracle?
Who we are, so we tell them. We are the Tigers, mighty, mighty Tigers. They're great. But they're the Lions.
But they're the Lions.
You can only do this chant.
And they're also the dogs.
You can only do this chant if your team is a cat.
But they're dogs.
But they're also dogs.
But they're the dogs.
Yeah. So then they all wait for Alex to get his grade, and he hands it to Lamont. And Lamont says, on the history test Schlotz took this morning, he received a B+. Woo! Woohoo! He did it. He passed. So I was telling Benji this, like, I feel like the grade should have been worse initially. I feel like it should have been like a D or an F. Because they're saying he's failing history.
I think a D makes a lot of sense.
Like, C- isn't a good grade by any means. But C's get degrees.
Yeah. It's just one of those where just from an optics standpoint, it would have made more sense. But whatever.
I also like, though, that he didn't get an A. Because it's really hard to go from 0 to 100. Yeah. Like, you got a B+, which is a good grade. So now, Lamont, we get like 2 seconds. He's like playing hoops with the NBA friend. Yeah. It's very quick.
Yeah, he's like at one point, like, I can't do stuff today. I got to meet up with a friend.
Yeah, we'll play basketball. All right. So now we're back at practice with the boys. And they do a little cute little dance. They're like, yeah, go Lions. Bring it in, everyone. Lamont says his dogs are good to go. But his dogs have to go on without him. Because last night I was with my NBA buddy. The Sixers want me to sign a 10-day contract.
Yeah. I'm going to explain this for people who don't know sports. This is a real thing in basketball. Can't speak too much on the money thing. Actually, I want to Google that right now.
How much money do you get for 10 days?
A rookie or first-year player, which is what he would count as because he doesn't have any NBA experience. Right. In current money, which is both inflation boosted and NBA boosted because NBA contracts have gone significantly up since in the last 22 years. Yeah. $61,000.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a whole year's salary.
Yes. And that is kind of the point because NBA contracts are insane. And that's why, that is a life-changing ability to be able to get that contract. That's going to help a lot in his, struggle with homelessness.
Yeah, and his family.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're like, he's like, come on, aren't you guys happy for me? And they're like, yeah, we're happy for you, but what about us? What about our team being a whole body? And Lamont says, practice hard, play hard, and study hard. Take pride in who you are, and you're going to be all right. But the boys are sad. Yeah.
It's something that it took me a little bit kind of. The first time I watched this movie, one of the only complaints that I had was like how everyone reacts around the contract thing when it's a life-changing amount of money. But at the same time, maybe I should explain this more when it's at the end of the movie when the whole situation is revealed. I think obviously he has to take this. It's too much money compared to the job that he currently has being very unguaranteed.
Yeah. Because right now he's just a day-to-day coach for a basketball team at a Jewish school. So Alex chases after Lamont. He's like, come on, why are you doing this? And Lamont says, I kept my word. I stayed until the Sixers called, and they called. And Alex says, I know this isn't the NBA, but... And Lamont says, you want me to give up my dream for yours? Stop being selfish. And Alex says, you stop. What about your family? He says, my family need me to take this contract to pay for bills. And Shalot says, well, maybe they just need you like we do.
Good points.
Both have good points.
It's very valid. Very true.
Lamont says, I'm a hired hand here. After the tournament, then what? I'm back on the streets. I owe you a lot, Alex, but this is my shot. I need to take it. I think overall, Lamont is definitely right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's completely makes sense. He beat Alex in an argument, so
it's hard to do that. But it's true. It's like, Alex, you keep telling me this is just until the tournament. Like, what happens after the tournament?
Yeah.
So then Alex goes to his mom, and he's like, Mom, all Lamont needs is a steady job. And she says, I can't recommend that they hire a full-time coach, like, for a lot of reasons. Money, priorities. And he says, you just hate basketball. And she says, no, Alex, I just think you can do so much more. You really want to be like Lamont, abandoning your family for a fantasy? And, okay, this isn't a direct quote, but this is what I wrote. You don't know shit about Lamont, and you know less about me. It's basically what Alex says.
Yeah, I think instead of shit, it's anything.
You don't know shit about Lamont. And then, like, Rabbi Lewis is doing a voiceover while it pans over sad shots of all our characters. And he's like, the Maccabees had almost lost hope, and there was only enough oil for one more day of light. Blah, blah, telling the stories about, the light, and that's why there's lights for Hanukkah on the menorah. And just Rabbi Lewis' voice is so soothing. That is so nice. That's why I like him a lot.
It's just for the voice.
It's his voice, and he gives such good wisdom.
He gives sage wisdom.
And he tells them the history.
He goes, ba batuka. He's the rabbi of wisdom.
He's the dog of wisdom because they're the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ba. Ha ba ba. After class, Alex talks with Rabbi Lewis. He's like, so if the Maccabees lost Judah, they would have been massacred, right?
They would have been fucking out. They couldn't have won, right?
And Rabbi Lewis is like, yeah. And Alex says, well, we just lost our Judah. And Rabbi says, well, maybe his wisdom and leadership isn't something to search for in others, but within ourselves. And Schloss is like, I could be Judah. I'm just a kid. And he says, it's not the size of our army. It's the strength of our faith.
So they really were just trying to do Avalon High, this director, was just trying to do this magic again where it's like, who's Judah?
Oh my God, you're so main character all along. Who's King Arthur? We need King Arthur. Maybe King Arthur was the friends we made along the way.
No. That's not the answer.
Just kidding. It was the main girl the whole time.
Yep. I wish it was Excalibur.
Oh, right. Her name was Allie. Excalibur. Anyway, back to Full Court Miracle. In the gym, Alex is shooting hoops and Lamont is watching from a distance, and then he walks away, and then we see the menorah has more candles, and now it's time for the tournament. It was pure transition shots. All right. We get shots of the crowd cheering. Alex gives a little pep talk to the team. He's like, 2 games to the finals, dogs. We worked hard to get here. We came to win. Let's go, team. 2 games?
Yeah, this is something where I think just has to be misworked script.
You know what's funny though is like this is a whole montage and I can kind of breeze through it. That's like they're playing games and then it shows the
teams going on the bracket.
Yeah, the bracket. Thank you. It shows the bracket and the Lions are moving up. It shows them winning like 3 times, but it does only show them playing in 2 games.
Yeah. So I just wonder if they forgot that a 16-team bracket has 4 games to win to be the winner.
Oh.
I feel like they just do their math wrong.
Whoops.
See, it's a pretty silly mistake to have.
It's fine, though.
It's like doesn't actually impact the film at all, but it's just an interesting mistake.
So we see them like playing, Rabbi's in the crowd, Schlotz is making the team bark. Woof, woof, we're dogs. Go, remember the Maccabees.
Remember we're dogs. Remember the Macca dogs.
They're winning their games, but the Warriors are also winning their games. Oh my gosh. Alex gets to take 2 free throws because he got fouled right at the buzzer, and it wins them the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Crazy. Also, at one point, TJ's like, I love you, Rebecca Bloomberg. And then you see her in the crowd. She's like, oh my God.
And he's like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So they won and they're going to the finals. Yay!
Also, Slotz's mom isn't there.
She's not there. So, okay, this is so dramatic of Alex. I'm obsessed. The mom's in the hospital and she like has an office, I guess. And Alex is waiting for her in the office, the back to the door, and he's looking out the window. And she's like, oh, hi. And he says, Mom, I'm proud of you for being a doctor. And he's still looking out the window. He is not looking at her. It's so dramatic. And she says, thank you. How did you do? He says, we won. We're going to the finals. She says, congratulations. And he says, why don't you trust me?
Dun, dun, dun.
Like, he came here to give his mom shit.
Yep. And you know what? She deserves it.
She deserves it. Like, although she's probably working, I don't know.
With how important this is to him, when all he's been talking about is the tournament, give him the support here.
Yeah.
You can miss other stuff if you really need to.
Yeah, you can tell just right off the bat it was very cold between them from the beginning of the scene. He says, I know the chances of me playing ball are long, but I want you to be proud of me. And she says, I am. Just help me understand. What does basketball mean to you? And so Alex says, when I have the ball in my hand and I'm heading down the court, just everything around me disappears. Like my whole life is wrapped up in one moment. It's just me and the ball and the hoop. And the mom is like visibly moved by this. So she's starting to understand. She's starting to understand.
She understands ball a little.
She understands that ball is life. A little.
Kind of like our dog.
Our dog definitely believes that ball is life. And you know what? These boys are just a bunch of dogs. Woof woof. So then we see Lamont in his condo. He's icing his knees. And he's looking at pictures of his family. And he calls his wife. And he's like, yeah, those younger guys are out jumping me, but I still have some moves. So they act like Lamont's a lot older than the guys, like, but he's never played in the NBA. Like, isn't he out of college? I don't know.
He is not young out of college. He played, I believe, 3 years of a different basketball league and then has been out for like a year with his knee injury.
Okay, so he is older.
Year plus. Yeah, he's definitely older than the young guys for trying to break in. And that there could have been time between the Continental American Basketball League that he was doing.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. So he's talking to his wife and he's like, you know, I've been thinking and I have an idea, and then it fades out.
I've been thinking that I had an idea.
What's his idea? I don't know. I guess we'll find out later. So now it transitions. It's very rainy, stormy outside. But we see the basketball court, and oh my god, what's this sick rap dropping? Dreidel, woo, Dreidel, woo. Rabbi is handing out hats, and then the boys come out to the court, and they're doing this whole choreographed dance to this rap. It's amazing. I wrote down some of the lyrics. Now playing basketball is my favorite sport. It don't matter if it's a pickup game or on the court. We're gonna always bring it to your home. We're our first string with our first string 1-on-1, 3-on-3, or you can bring your whole team. Get ready for the pain on your aching feet and the sound of the crowds when you earn defeat. Dreidel, I made it out of clay. Dreidel.
While this awesome song is playing, and I love it, it's just...
And they're like full court miracle. Yeah.
They do a full choreographed dance of the basketball team.
It's so good.
When did they have time to do this? Who made this song? I love it.
Why is this part of the movie? I don't care.
It completely doesn't fit with the rest of the movie.
No.
I love it.
A little bit. They were dancing a little bit when he's like, "You're the body," and now they're like, "Yeah, here's our full choreographed dance." Like this was part of their practice.
Dreidel,
Woo.
made it out of clay.
Dreidel.
Woo.
I spin it
every day.
I don't know. So then Alex pet talks his dogs. And they're playing the Warriors, and we get flashes of the battle.
Oh my god!
Dream
it's like,
sequence.
It's like actual battles, but basketball.
You're so right though. How this is like Avalon High because it would flash of them being knights.
You can feel the same director.
It's the same director. It's like the fog.
It's one of them where the movie actually works as intended, and one where it doesn't.
Wait, which one works?
This one works as intended.
Well, I feel like this one is so less necessary though.
I'm saying the movie in general.
Oh, the movie works? Yeah, the movie works.
The Flash is maybe less, but they don't really work in either.
Yeah. All right. We see the mom talking with Julie at the hospital. So Julie's still doing the program, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
she was into it.
If Shaw's ain't doing it.
Yeah. And the mom's like, all right, I'll drop you off at the school, Julie, so you can see the basketball game. And Julie's like, aren't you going to watch Alex play? And the mom says, there's something I need to take care of first. So back to the game. The Warriors are leading, but the Lions are hanging in there. They're a little behind, but they're not falling like abysmally behind. Julie shows up in the crowd, and she has a big sign that says miracles can happen. And then we get more thunder, and we go back to the mom. In her car, she sees an NBA player. So she went to the stadium that they played at, and he's signing autographs, and she's like, oh, I'm looking for Lamont Carr. And he's like, oh, yeah, good guy. We just played him. Did you look inside? And she's like, I have a question for you. What would you say to a 14-year-old, 5-foot-tall boy who wants to be in the NBA? And this guy says, sign that boy up. He's a big dreamer. Ha, ha, ha.
It's a real guy. I believe it's Junkyard Dog.
Junkyard Dog?
My dog? That's his nickname.
My dog?
My dog?
Wolf?
It's Jerome Williams. He's just a real pro basketball player. It's pretty good. Nickname Junkyard Dog. I had that right.
Nice.
Yeah. So shout out him for just being a real NBA player. They got him to cameo for the movie.
They gave him a cheesy line.
Yep.
Sign that boy up. He's a big dreamer. Ah, ha, ha, ha. All right, back to the game. The score is 48-30. The Lions are losing. So it's 18 points. They are behind. And then the thunder and the lightning makes the lights go out in the stadium. And the generator turns on the floodlights. So, uh-oh. And we go back to the mom. She finds Lamont and his van is broken down. And he's like, I just rebuilt it. That doesn't make sense. And the mom's like, maybe it does. Try again.
Maybe it's gone.
Try again. And he's like, why? Nothing's changed. She says, just try again. So he goes and he turns on the van and it works. And he says, I don't get it. And she says, I think I'm beginning to. It's so
cheesy.
It's
such a Hallmark line.
It's fate that your engine didn't work, but now it does.
It'll make you wait to see me.
Yeah. Rabbi Lewis is like, all right. So they're outside looking at the generator. They're like, either we end the game now and the Warriors win. And they're like, yes, let's
do it.
He says, or we start the emergency generator and we play until the power goes out.
This is a stupid ruling.
I know.
And they need this for the plot. And this is probably the best they could do for this specific plot to work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's pretty dumb. Logistically, I was saying that they should just redo the whole game, but Benji says no.
I don't think redoing the whole game makes sense because one team building up an 18-point lead, 18 points is huge in basketball. That is huge. That's not like a 2-point lead.
Yeah. If it was tied or something, they could do it, but
you could chuck up 6 straight 3-pointers and be tied. That's a lot.
Yeah. So really probably what they should have done. I don't think it's fair to just give one team the victory though.
Yeah.
Because there
was 15 minutes left at this point.
Yeah. And that's a lot of time.
There is a lot of time. I agree. It shouldn't be just given over.
I think they should just stop and resume with that much time left and that same score on another day.
Yeah.
Like, come back tomorrow.
That can be a scheduling issue, especially for middle school basketball.
Yeah. All right. So they're like, well, how much time will the generator work? And they ask the old coach guy, and he's like, I teach algebra. I don't know. So one of the boys shows that, like, look, the fuel is almost out. Like, it's maybe half full. So the other coach, or the Warriors coach, is like, so no matter who's ahead or if there's time left on the clock, when the generator stops, the game stops, right? Like, yeah, we get it. He's like, I'm just establishing the rules.
I gotta put it out there.
For
the audience at home.
Once the power's out, whoever's ahead, even though there's time left, we're good. So they run back in. They're 18 points behind, and there's barely any fuel. We definitely need a miracle. So then, yeah, they go back to the court. The old coach teacher is in charge of the generator, despite just teaching algebra. And there's 15 minutes on the clock. They're like, we don't expect the generator to last the whole 15 minutes. What a shitty generator.
I think it was forgotten to be refueled at one point.
But it shows, I swear it's like half full, and it depletes so quickly.
Yeah.
Within minutes, it depletes.
Maybe it's just terrible fuel.
Yeah, maybe. So the game continues. They start scoring, the Lions do, catching up a little bit. The Warriors are just playing awful defense. And then the algebra teacher pulls out a little ruler or something, and he starts doing math, and he's watching the fuel go down.
It's like, I gotta calculate this and then say it very loudly so the opponents know exactly how much time there's left.
That was probably the dumbest thing he could do.
Yeah.
Like, he goes in, so I'll tell him in a second, sorry. Tyler is getting pissed that the Warriors are like starting to choke so hard.
Yeah. No, let's be real here. How bad would it be to choke an 18-point lead to a team that before this tournament hadn't won a single game?
Yeah, okay. Can we talk about how, like, this team has never won a single game and then they come and win a whole tournament? I'd be like, are they on steroids or something?
They're on better than steroids. They're on Judaism.
So then the algebra teacher, he comes in, he's like, time out. I have the answer. I know how long it will run. It was simple calculus. You have 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Well, now it's 44 seconds. He explains
the whole process rather than just saying the time, which
like, is literally, when he figures it out, he's like, oh my gosh, there's like 3 minutes left. I have to go run in and call a timeout and tell them this, even though that wastes like a whole minute of their time.
Yeah, I get the idea of telling them because having the more direct knowledge is good.
It is good.
But with the time that's calculated, it's honestly not worth it.
So
they
dumb.
They don't have a physical chance.
No, if it was like 10 minutes, be like, hey, it's gonna last 10 minutes. Like, that's good to know. But just a couple minutes, now they're fucked because they start playing again and the Warriors call a timeout. Fucking Tyler is trying to waste her time because they're up by 10 points right now. And Alex is like, but we had them. Why would they call a timeout? We just had a timeout. It's because they're stalling. It's not fair. We were catching them. They can't do that. But now they only have a minute left of the fuel. So much for the miracle. So we see the fuel going down. They start counting down the seconds. 40, 39. So sad.
Somehow they all know the exact timing to the second.
Well, because the teacher.
Yes, I know. But number one, his timings were not accurate to the second, even when he was counting down the times. His counting was like, 45. Well, now actually 44. Whoa, I mean, now at this point,
yeah, I
43.
think it went a little earlier than he thought.
Second of all, it's still just an estimation calculation.
Yeah.
And third of all, they're not counting off of an actual clock. People's timing's not right. But apparently they all get it right, because right when the clock gets to 0, the lights start to actually go out.
Yeah. But Lamont comes in because the lights dim, but then they come back and Lamont comes in with the light. He's like, what's up with my dogs? What's the long faces for? And they're like, we're going to lose. We don't have enough power. And he says, what about the miracle of the Maccabees and the light? And Alex is like, you know what? You're right.
Such clearly a Hanukkah metaphor.
Yeah. So he goes and gets the ball. And Tyler's like, give it up, Schlotz. And he says, in your dreams, Tyler. Fucking Tyler. So then Schlotz is just dribbling on the court. He's dribbling and they count down from 10, 9, 8, whatever. The fuel goes out. And the Warriors are like, yay, we won. But then the generator somehow starts up again, even though the fuel is gone. Why does it do that? I don't know. It's a miracle.
Yeah. What do you think a miracle is called that for? It's a full court miracle.
It's a full court miracle. The lights are back.
Believe it or not, there's not a single full court shot in this movie.
All right, the lights are back. Let's go. Lamont's coaching them now. Schultz steals the ball and he sinks it. They're catching up. Lots of cool basketball happens. Now they're only down by 1 point. But oh no, the Warriors score. And then they go back and forth, scoring.
So they were down by 10 at this point.
Yeah.
And then they immediately are like, you know what? We're not going to show them coming back. We're just going to show them making like 2 baskets and suddenly it's a 1-point game. Okay.
They make a bunch of baskets.
Yeah, but it's just like, you could have made this comeback way more intense, in my opinion, by instead of having it trade off just like, oh, the Lions bring it to 1 point, but now it's 3 points, 1 point, 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
They instead decide to just like, that's what they decide to do. I think they could have decided to make the comeback more of like a comeback to the last minute. At the point that it's a 1-point game, it's already, the comeback's done. Now it's just who wins. Yeah. Which is still an interesting question.
Yeah.
But the comeback's done.
Yeah. Okay. So they're scoring back and forth. Julie changed her sign. Now it says miracles do happen.
Yeah, she crossed off
can
the 10.
Happen. They do happen.
Wow. So cool.
Generator's about ready to blow. Alex has the ball and the seconds are counting down. They're like, look at the clock, you have to shoot. But he doesn't shoot. He passes the ball.
Oh my God.
He learned how to pass. Oh my God. And the kid shoots last second and the power goes out and it's the scoreboard's blowing up, but the ball's in the air. And oh my God, it goes in the basket. They won.
Yeah. Although if I was the other team, I would definitely argue that even though in normal basketball rules, you'd be like, he got the ball off. It's a buzzer beater. Obviously, it counts. They said, explicitly in the rules, whoever's leading when the power goes.
But he already shot the ball when as the ball was in the air as the power went out.
Well, I'm just saying, when they were like, we're going to make it very clear whoever wins when the power goes out.
But if you shoot the ball before the power goes out.
I'm being pedantic about the rules of how it is. This is clearly ruled how it would be ruled.
Yeah, so they won. Oh my God. They show the Warriors coach, and he cannot fucking believe it. It is so funny.
He's
like,
so pissed.
How the hell
did we blow an 18-point lead?
How the hell did that happen? Schlotz saw that his mom came in. Towards the end of the day. She saw it. It's so cute.
Why don't you come for the whole game, Mom?
Because she was busy. And we're going to talk about it. So Lamont is like, hey, Alex's mom, thank you. She went and picked up his family so that they can make it to the game. So then his wife and his son are there. And she's like, I plan to convince Rabbi Lewis to hire Lamont as a full-time coach. And it's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. But what about the Sixers? What about the NBA?
Yeah.
Lamont says, sometimes you got to listen to your new dreams, bad knees, and my little boy who needs a dad.
Yeah. So first time I watched this, I think I just wasn't paying as much attention to the fact of he getting another 10-day contract is not that likely.
Yeah, getting signed at all.
Yeah, because he's only ever going to really be able to get these 10-day contracts, which are big gets if you can get them. And that's when there's like another player has a temporary injury. They just need bodies to fill in the bench, basically. Mm-hmm. Realistically, this makes actually a lot of sense, where you can have a consistent job, even if it's probably less money overall. He gets to be with his family. He liked what he was doing. It all makes sense.
Yeah, and he still can finish this 10-day contract.
Yes. Yeah. He's not breaking his contract.
No.
Which is important.
Yeah. And it was obvious, like, from the phone call before that he's like, hey, why don't you come and move out here so I can do this? And then when he met up with the mom and his van was on the fritz, he said, I have to get to the airport. And so you think that means like, oh, he's leaving. But no, he was going to go pick up his family. Yeah. And so the mom went instead to pick up the family. So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool ending. So then we get a conclusion. We show Alex and his parents lighting the menorah, and the rabbi is voicing over inspirational stuff. He's like, we remember the light and the miracles, whatever. And we see Alex and Lamont's families play basketball together. And that's the end of the movie.
And that's it. That's Full Court Miracle.
Full Court Miracle.
It has the juice.
It has the juice.
It is just a good, very solid movie.
It is a good movie. It, like, when you're watching it, it's just a nice, feel-good little sports movie.
It's nice, fast-paced as well. There's, like, a lot of stuff happens within
so much
the short
in the beginning,
movie.
yeah.
And it doesn't feel like they overstay their welcome at any point.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned more about Judaism.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing.
Being more cultured.
It's really nice.
That's good for a kids movie to do.
It's a very nice representation.
And it doesn't feel preachy, which is such a hard balance.
It's just so wholesome and sweet to see this culture without being preachy. Like, this is totally different, but maybe not. Like, Cadet Kelly is very preachy.
Yes.
For the military.
That is a good comparison for this.
Yeah. Whereas Full Court Miracle is like, no, this is just our culture. We're Jewish. This is our Jewish school. And you just get to see it, you know, at least, like, if you're Jewish and this movie sucks for Judaism, I'm so sorry. Yeah. But I think it's good.
From what research I did, it looks like it is net positive feedback. People appreciate it. And they're like, hey, it's nice to see a Jewish DCOM.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
So our final Jank House ranking for this was 20, which is very high. Very high. Benji has it at 16.
Again, this is one where I like defend it hard.
I have it a little lower at 36. I feel like that's still a pretty good score, though. Let me see where I have it in B tier, like mid to high B tier, which I think I agree with.
I think it's A tier.
Yeah,
I do.
It's up there for sure.
But it's also like, it's a sports movie. I really like sports movies. Mm-hmm. It does all the sports movie tropes that I like.
Yes. So, yeah, that's Full Court Miracle.
And Dreidel, woo.
Dreidel, woo. That's like the one thing we remembered for sure was the rap. It really comes out of nowhere. It's so really fun. Does. I love it though. I love that. I love a little choreographed dance. It definitely earned some points for that. So, yay! Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any thoughts on Full Court Miracle, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com, or you can comment on YouTube or anywhere else.
We'll try and find it.
Yeah.
Hopefully there hasn't been a comment that we haven't seen. It's possible, and if so, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we appreciated having some fan mail to talk about today.
Yeah. Cool. Now is the time of the show where we spin our wheel of DCOMs and figure out what DCOM we're watching next. Benji, what do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be Descendants.
That's crazy. I think it's going to be Zapped.
You think? Okay. Okay. This is certainly a connection.
One really good DCOM and one really bad DCOM.
Your pick on which is which.
Oh my God. It was so close to Descendants. But it was not Descendants. It is Cowbells.
Cowbells. Okay.
Allie and AJ.
Someone was in the cast in here. I just said that.
And it was the lady. It was Mrs. Klein, right?
Mrs. Klein, yeah, I believe so.
Well, Mrs. Klein, we have not seen enough of you, girl. Come over to Cowbells.
Yeah. Tune in 2 weeks from the release for Cowbells.
Cowbells. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Scenes from our next episode.
Oh my God, is that Allie and AJ?
Oh my God, do they sing Roller Coaster? But that's not what it's called.
For a roller coaster.
It's called like whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, they do sing that.
Oh, Dad, your dairy factory is going out of business. What the heck?
I am a very French boyfriend.
Oh, I love my French boyfriend.
let's just do these factory jobs. It's totally going to be easy.
Yeah, hey sis, I took your birthday money and I put it towards saving the factory.
Hope that's okay.
Hope that's cool. Sorry. But these people need to keep their jobs. Oh, it was the evil lawyer.
Kidnapped?
It was the evil lawyer the whole time.
Wow, who could have guessed?
Who would have guessed? Milk. There's milk goop in this one.
Certainly.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
So get ready to drink that up on Cowbells.
These girls got themselves in a really milky situation this Friday.
See what the utterly hilarious Cowbells has in store for you.
They say move over.
These are very cheesy jokes.